Hello and welcome back, all my first time home buyers. Maybe you haven't bought a home in a while. Come on in. Lots of information for you here. So, Sharon LeCain with Avery Hess Realtors, and I'm so happy you guys are back. Last week we talked about writing an offer. So, today I just want to take maybe a half a step back to talk about how much money you need upfront, cash in hand, when going through the buying process. We won't necessarily be able to talk about specific dollar amounts, but what you're going to need to spend that money on. The dollar amounts are going to depend on your market, going to depend on your contract, but you'll have a general idea of what you need. So if you're a first-time home buyer, hopefully you're getting a loan that will help you with the down payment. So you'll work with your lender on that. So that is something to consider. How much down payment do you need? There are some loans out there where you might be able to do 3% down of the sales price. And there are some 100% financing options. And if you're in my market, we have a lot of veterans in our market. And if you're using a VA loan, that they take care of 100% of the down payment for you. So there's that. And then you're going to want to do a home inspection. So I always advise my buyers to do a home inspection. Even investors sometimes will do a home inspection because they want to know what's wrong with the property so that they can plan for their investment and they know what fixes need to be done. So you're going to do a home inspection and you'll want to budget for that depending on your market. And if you're in my market, just give me a call, shoot me a message, and I can give you a range of pricing for home inspection. We can talk about that. If you are in a market where you have well and septic instead of public water and public sewer, you're going to want to have those items inspected as well. In our market, we also sometimes have radon inspections. So you're going to want to have a little bit of money set aside for that, especially if you have a basement in the house. So you can do some Googling on radon and what that is. But we do see a fair amount of that in our market. So we always recommend, especially if there's a basement, that our clients go ahead and get a radon inspection. And pest inspection or wood destroying insects. So that could be anything from termites to carpenter bees to, I'm sure there's bugs out there that will come up on someone's report that I haven't even seen yet. But that is definitely a requirement for the loan. Lender's not going to lend without having that wood destroying insect inspection complete. And that's generally a pretty small cost. So you want to make sure you have money for that. When you write the offer itself, there's something that we refer to as EMD. It's your earnest money deposit. It's basically good faith, showing your good faith to the seller that you are in this to buy the home. You know, you're putting a little bit of skin in the game here. And depending on your market, also will depend on what that earnest money deposit looks like. So a lot of markets will do it by percentage of the sales price. So you'll want to be prepared for that. Talk to your realtor, know what to expect. That is money that will be deposited into an escrow account, and it will be deposited and it'll be held until closing. At closing, it either comes back to you or goes towards down payment or towards closing costs. Closing costs. We all hear about closing costs. What are they? What am I paying for? How much is it going to be? In our market here, we generally figure about 3% of the sales price. And depending on if it's a higher sales price or a lower sales price, you know, that may be a little bit different. Not all of the costs associated with closing are percentages. Some of them are flat fees. And your realtor can give you an estimate, as well as your lender, on what those closing costs will be. So you're paying for things like title work and taxes and all of the fees associated with putting your loan together. All of those things wrapped up are closing costs. Now, when you're buying a home, you have the option to negotiate and ask the seller to contribute towards your closing costs. Sometimes they will and sometimes they won't, and it's a negotiation on amount. Will they pay all of your closing costs? Maybe they'll just pay a portion of your closing costs. So to be on the safe side and for budgeting purposes, make sure you have cash on hand to pay those closing costs if the seller pays nothing. So, we'll just call that worst case scenario, right? So if you can't get the seller to pay anything towards closing costs, maybe it's a seller's market and they've got multiple offers, and the offers are maybe very similar, but one is asking for closing costs and the other one isn't. Well, if I'm the seller, I'm gonna go with the one that's not asking for closing costs because it's probably netting me more money in my pocket. So if you're able to pay your own closing costs and it's a competitive market, that's definitely a strategy you can use to win the offer and get that home of choice for you. So those are the big key components that you want to make sure you have money in your pocket to pay those, and be ready for that. So when you write that offer and you get into a ratified contract, you don't want to be wondering where the money is going to come from to do all of these inspections and pay all of the fees that need to be paid. So that's just a quick little snippet on that. If you have any questions, feel free to message me. Message below here under the YouTube video, send me a private message, email me, and I will get back to you. If you have any topics that you want me to talk about in future videos, send me a message or make a comment below, and I will gladly put those on my list of things to talk about here in the future. So thank you so much for tuning in. I hope you're getting a lot of information from these short little sessions every week. And subscribe, like, comment, follow, share my videos out. Maybe you have someone on your friend list that is looking to buy a home, and some of this information can be very helpful to them. So I will see you here in the video room next week. All right, talk to you guys later. Have a good one.